Hi there. I've done a blog this week about shame because I was riddled with shame, and whenever I felt shame, and it would come as a result of being triggered by someone, something, or me making a mistake, and no matter how much self-worth I had or self-esteem I had, when that shame attack happened, I could feel it sucking all of that good energy out of me, and I would feel all of it just disappear, and then I'm just left with this like feeling of this emptiness and this lack of identity, but this horrid feeling about myself that I'm just a bag of rubbish, and I would even feel shame about feeling shame. I'd be like, how did I find myself here? And it's just a sort of a negative cycle that just keeps adding to each other, and adding to itself. So you sort of have one negative thought, then a second negative thought, and then you just keep heaping more and more negative thoughts on that until you absolutely feel like there's no point in living. It's horrible. It's a horrible feeling. So sometimes we don't know how this happens, so we sort of like need some direction. And I went to therapy, and I've done all sorts of 12-step programs, but this was something I had to sort of watch out for myself, and watch out for when it happens. So there's a whole lot of work that's needed to eradicate shame, and it's a process, so it can be done in stages, but equally it's something that we can start at any time, as long as we know what we need to do. And what I've learned, what I need to do, there's 5 basic things really. One is that you improve your self-care. So if I'm going to feel good about myself, I need to be eating the right foods. No matter what my brain or my desires are, I can still treat myself, but I need to eat good food every day. So even if I allow myself one meal that's bad, I can at least have 2. And that way I'm feeding myself good energy. I sense that I'm feeding myself something good, so therefore that's an esteemable thing. So talking with people who I value, what sort of people make me smile or make me laugh or have a good energy about them. Exercise, all of these together can increase your self-esteem, ad infinitum, and it can work immediately. So that's the first thing, self-care. Secondly, affirmations. So I would, if I feel low or I feel like I'm not really at my best, I can remind myself of things that I'm good at, even if it's just if I've done something good today. If I've helped somebody today, try and really think about all the positives in your life, because we all have skills. We're all nice people, but we can act a little bit selfish sometimes, or we can maybe be a bit even bullying in a way that we can't. We don't want to accept our emotions, and we want to blame it on somebody else. We try and pass it on to somebody else. So we need to act in our best interest, and that means that we look after ourselves. So affirmations. Sometimes I used to have to try and do 100 affirmations a day, and it's very difficult because it feels unnatural at first, and it feels like I'm, effectively going to become arrogant. But actually, if you say the right affirmations to yourself, and you can get a list from the websites. There's loads of mental health websites you can get affirmations from. If you do those regularly each day, it's not there to make you feel superior or inferior, obviously. It's there to make you equal. And when you feel equal, then you're a part of the human race again, and you belong, and you're just at the level as everyone else. And that's where we really, really want to be, if we're honest. So affirmations, try and do affirmations if you feel like you need some. Even if you don't feel like you need some, just try and do some anyway, and get into a practice of doing it. Thirdly, I would say that negative people, in the same way that positive people have a really good effect on you, negative people can. Now, these people could be friends that we value, we trust, we would absolutely rely on them. But what we don't have to do, what we're not obligated to do, is spend too much time with them if they're in their zone. Because some people are negative, or some people are in a situation where it does look as though there is no hope, and we can't rescue people. We're not there to rescue people. It's up to them to rescue themselves. We can show our support, but equally we need to look after our own energies as well. So if we're negative with those negative people, we're not adding value, we're making things worse. So we need to detach and know when we need to detach. So once I feel that somebody's maybe becoming a bit of a vampire, so they're sucking my energy out, I need to detach with love. So that's when I need to go. So we need to focus on who's good for us and who's can be that sort of energy sucker, if you like, and just make sure that we limit our time with them. Always show support, always show your love, let them know that you're there for them, but know when you need to look after yourself and replenish your own resources. Fourth thing I would say is your inner boundaries. Now, we all talk about external boundaries, which is basically please give me space, or you're taking my inventory, I don't appreciate it. Basically standing up for yourself when even if you feel terrified to do so. And the only way you do that, the only way you overcome that part of yourself that's terrified of standing up for yourself, is by doing it. So it is full frontal, facing the fear. But it doesn't need to be difficult, and you don't need to get it right. You don't need to say the right words. You just need to say something. So even if you say stop or enough, that is absolutely enough for you in that moment, and walk away. Now, easier said than done, right? Every situation may be different, but what we need to try and focus on is that we don't give way to others. And if I used to give way to people that are angry, or if they're super confident, or if I just felt insecure, I would just go along with it just to take the easy ride, but then I would pay for it afterwards because of regret. And then I'd go over the situation over and over again, wishing or dreaming or fantasizing about how I should have dealt with it. So it's best to try and do it in the moment, but you have to start somewhere, and it's not going to be perfect. So you might make a hash of it, but it's better to try than not to try. So start with, if you need to, how you feel. So if someone's being really angry at you or shouting at you and you don't like it, you just say, I'm feeling really pressured by the way you're behaving at the moment. You're very loud and you're very angry, and I understand. When you talk like that, you suddenly start to become a bit more courageous, because you're actually standing up for yourself, but you're not threatening them. You're not playing them at their own game. You're just literally trying to state what's happening for you in that moment. Now, some people accept that and immediately think, oh my God, okay, sorry, I didn't realize what I was doing. Others may continue, and that's when you just say, I'm not dealing with your stuff right now, I'm leaving, and just walk away. And I know that's, again, easier said than done, but it's better than nothing. And you will feel a little bit of respect for yourself, and that respect, that tiny little bit of respect, will go a long way. If you feel threatened, if somebody is literally physically attacking you, then shout for yourself, shout for help. Just say stop, or shout, help me, whatever it is. There is always something you can do, which means that you still stay respectful of yourself. You don't give in to somebody else. You react in a way that's trying to defend yourself, and that it's the greatest gift you can give to yourself. But like I say, just try it. Even small steps at a time will be better than nothing. Now, the last thing I would say is, with shame, for me, I would rely too much on what I thought others thought of me. So if I did something, it would be, how would other people see that? Now, what I'm trying to explain that is that I would expect some sort of praise, sometimes even applause or a standing ovation for stuff that I did, and then I'd be angry if I didn't get it. But equally, I would do something expecting some criticism. And actually, what I do is no one else's business. I've just got to do what I've got to do. So if I've got a job to do and I'm being paid to do this job, it's better to do something rather than nothing. So even if I do something that's not great, it's not perfect, at least I've done it. It's better than doing nothing. And the only way you can really get over that fear of what others think of you is by doing all those things that I've stated before. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So self-care, affirmations, doing the negative people, limiting yourself to time with negative people, doing the inner boundary work, which is basically standing up for yourself and trying to sort of listen to your gut. What does your gut say in this moment? And yeah, just try slowly and get away from what others think, because they don't think a lot of you. Even the nicest people in the world don't think of you much because they're too busy thinking about themselves. We all are. If you think about how much time you think of other people and you equate that to others, it's going to be the same. So actually, it doesn't really matter what other people think anyway, because if they're going to be negative, they're going to be negative anyway. So anyway, I hope that helps. I hope you have a great week. And if you do want some one-to-one coaching, then just email me at martin@becomeunstuck.co.uk. And I hope you have a great week. Thank you.